Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about what happens when disaster strikes on Amtrak. Okay, so one of the things that many of you ask us about all the time in the comments on YouTube is, have you had any mishaps? Have you had any problems on Amtrak, any delays, anything like that? And we decided we'd kind of narrow it down to the top 6 incidents, let's call them, that have happened to us on Amtrak. And I'm gonna let you kick this off, Rob.
Yeah, we have had several incidents happen, and they've all kind of worked themselves out in different ways. So we're gonna show you what happened, give you our take on why it happened, and how Amtrak resolved it. Let's jump right in with the first one. This was the Texas Eagle. We were traveling from Chicago west in a bedroom on the Texas Eagle, and we ran into a tornado, and there was a tornado warning on the tracks, and it got a little hairy for a few minutes, right?
It did. It was weird because it started just kind of raining shortly after we left Chicago, and then all of a sudden everybody's emergency sound went off on their cell phone. You could hear it like echo throughout of all the sleeper cars, all the people around us, and then they came, the train stopped all of a sudden, and it was just kind of a unsettling situation, really, for lack of another term.
It escalated pretty quickly. So let's take a look at what that was like.
We do apologize. Unfortunately, we had some bad weather. I don't have a specific time at this point. We will keep you updated and informed if we have any additional information. Conductors will be walking about the train. If you have any questions, please feel free.
Okay, so we are stopped here just before our next station at Pontiac because we got a tornado warning ahead of us. So they're stopping here to keep us safe. So we're just, at least we have a cool view here looking out, but we're gonna make the best of it here as we just kind of wait this one out. We don't know how long it's gonna be, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, but I'm not sure being perched above the river is the best place to be for the tornado warning, but we'll see. I don't think it's going to be too bad. You can kind of see... Uh-oh, everybody's cell phones are going off for the tornado warning. You can kind of see the little bridge that we're sitting on.
The cafe car is temporarily closed. I have a line right now. I have to go through that line in the next 20 minutes. So I have the person holding the line who's the last person in line. She will be my last person in line. Once again, the cafe car is closing at 4 o'clock because I have to move on and take care of my supercar package. I will reopen later in the evening. Please make that announcement. Once again, the cafe cart is closed. My last person in line is holding the last person in line time. Thank you.
Cafe car, as you heard, is closed. So we're waiting for dinner, which is going to be at 5 o'clock for us. So should be not too much longer, and we'll be on the move. There are huge trees now floating down the river. So, and also, we just saw the room attendant walk by through the window, and he was wearing like a orange life jacket type thing. So I don't know if he's going out to check the situation, but he was planning on getting wet in just a few minutes.
If you want to step off, have a quick smoke, get the fresh air, you are able to do so at this time. We ask that you please stay on the platform, listening for the all.
They said you can get off and take a smoke and some fresh air.
You want to walk to the center of the...
Alright, as you can see, it is coming down pretty good out here. I don't see a tornado yet, but it's pretty wet. They let us off here in Pontiac, Illinois for a quick smoke break and fresh air. And yeah, it's really starting to rain. So I'm going to go back in before I get too wet. Okay, the wind has picked up substantially out there. And I came back inside because it was pretty wet and windy. But we are safe here, and that's one of the things that is great about Amtrak, is that they always have your safety in mind, and they've got people looking ahead to see where the real bad weather is, and so they can stop before you get there. And that is awesome, because when you're driving in a car and you're driving through this, you don't really know where you're going. You can't tell what's coming up, and you drive right into something terrible. So that was kind of fun to get out and play around in the rain, but now I'm just gonna dry off for dinner.
Okay, we've waited out the tornado and we are back on the move again. All right, so as you saw, we obviously made the best of it, especially with Rob Cantori reporting live from the platform. But that one was resolved pretty easily. It just set us back a little bit on our timetable, but we were good with that. We didn't really want them driving us through a tornado, a possible tornado. So that one worked out fine. It didn't really cost us anything, and it didn't really set us back much time-wise, honestly.
Yeah, that one was resolved, but the next one was not really resolved so easily, and it was a little bit more of a bummer for us. It was actually on that same trip, and that same weather system dumped tons of rain all over Missouri, and we were supposed to be going from St. Louis to Kansas City on the Missouri River Runner, which was going to be our first time on that train. And there were actually several people that were on there that were excited it was going to be their first time on the train. And we got to the station and they said the train is canceled because there's too much water on the tracks and that they were going to put us on a bus.
Bum, bum, bum. So that was actually our first bus experience with Amtrak, but we'll explain it here in a second to you, but it was definitely a different experience than what we were expecting. And we didn't find out, like you said, that it was canceled until we got to the station that morning. So they must have really got a ton of rain that night and then made a last minute call. So let's show you what that looked like.
We are headed on to Kansas City now, but we got to the train station, the Gateway station, and they said there was so much water on the tracks to Kansas City that the train can't go. We were supposed to be on the Missouri River Runner, but they have arranged a bus for us to get there. So a little change of plans. We are going to be riding a bus to KC. We'll see how that is. It's a charter bus, not a Greyhound bus or a through bus. So I don't know how it's going to differ, but we're going to hop on board, see what that's like. And incidentally,
all right, so we paid $58 for our tickets, which were actually business class seats. And of course, there's not going to be business class seats on the bus, on this coach bus. So they did give us a refund of $44. So that's kind of nice that they gave us that and still gave us access to the first class lounge.
first stop, Kirkwood. Somehow we made it here before the bus in front of us, so there's some confusion as to who's going to get on and off because the other bus is apparently not here yet. Okay, we are back on the highway after a quick stop in Kirkwood, and the cool thing was I think we just saw some Route 66 signs, so I think we might have been on that for a minute. So back on the highway to KC, should be there in about 3 hours. About an hour from Kansas City, and we stopped at a rest area here for a 20-minute break, so everyone is getting off to get some food, vending machines, use the facilities, take a little walk. So not bad so far. Hour to go. We should be in Kansas City shortly. The worst part about this whole situation is that there was really no planning for food. So we don't have really anything for dinner with us. It's been about a 5.5-hour ride and there's nothing available on the bus. So tonight it looks like it's going to be Ritz Bits for dinner, and we do have a Coke, and we had a couple of boxes of Pop-Tarts, so kind of an eclectic dinner, but it'll make do for tonight. Yeah, I think the worst part about that one was just the lack of food and the lack of preparation. We were not prepared for that. That was our mistake. We didn't bring enough to eat and didn't have like a backup plan. So they did resolve it by refunding some of our money. We got, the business class ticket was refunded, but we didn't really enjoy the bus ride. I know you really don't like that at all.
Well, my problem is I do get motion sickness, and in the bus, it was really a little bit challenging for me to. Thankfully, we were able to board early. Like we were actually, I think, one of the first ones that was able to board, and we could sit right behind the driver, and that was a little helpful for me for my motion sickness. But I wasn't prepared for it, and like you said, we didn't really have snacks. Those food for it, like a meal. We had those snacks with us from our hotel stay in St. Louis. So we were lucky we had that left over.
Yeah. Our next disaster was a breakdown of the California Zephyr. And this was a really fascinating trip because we were pulling one of the brand new engines. It was being delivered. So it was actually on the train backwards in reverse. But our actual engine broke down. And from there, it was just a
one
mess.
of the two.
Yeah.
And then two of the two, it was really quite a scene.
We ended up having to get a BNSF engine, borrow one, and then it ended up pulling us, but it couldn't go at the same rate that the Amtrak one does. And it was pulling a lot of extra engines because it was a broken down engine. There was an engine being delivered, so there was 4 engines on the front of the train. And it just took forever to get where we were going. But you know, we made the best of it, and this is where we first got our first look at the Amtrak special menu that you get when you break down and you're on the train way too long. They do have extra food on board. This was our first look at that menu, so let's see how that went. All right, we are stopped here in Omaha still, and as you can see behind me, there is some engine work going on. And interestingly, we've been, you know, one of the engines is down, but we are being towed by a BNSF engine. And ironically, we are also towing the brand new Amtrak engine. So it's about the most eclectic group of locomotives you'll find on a train anywhere. We're still not really sure what is going to happen. We've been here. They've been working on this for a few hours, and we're not sure if, you know, this could turn into a bus situation or they're going to get it fixed. We're still hoping they're going to get it fixed and get us back on the road to Chicago tonight sometime. And good thing is staff's been treating us well, and we're optimistic we'll be going soon.
But we made it.
All right, they just called all aboard, so we're about to get back on. So since our train is about 9 hours late, we're going to be on for one more meal, and that is dinner tonight. And they had a different menu. We've been doing traditional dining all the last couple days, and today they said we had a lot of new choices. We're not really sure why there were new choices, but there are. So we have the beef stew, which is what I got. There was also a mac and cheese and a couple other things, a chili, and just some pasta with chicken. So, and Allie went ahead and got the chili with a bunch of toppings, and they had a roll, and then we got some drinks, and they also had some desserts. And he just said they found some extra desserts, so we're not even sure what these are. So this is a mystery opening for all of us.
Ooh,
and
cheesecake.
It's cheesecake. Hey, door number 1, cheesecake.
And I'm guessing that's chocolate because it says Choco.
Let's see, this is also not on the menu. I don't know where they get this from, but you won't find it on any Amtrak menu that we've seen. It is a chocolate lava cake. So there you have it. Somehow we were late, out of a little bit of food, but we came up with all new meal choices, and it looks really, really good. So we're gonna go ahead and eat right now. We have made it to beautiful Ottumwa, Iowa. And you might be able to tell from the sky, it is sunset time. Sun is setting behind me, even though we were supposed to be in Chicago in the afternoon. So we're around about 9 hours behind. Tip for you for this, if this is your first time going to be riding on one of these trains, is don't plan anything the day of arrival. So don't plan any type of flight or big transfer you need to make, because there's a decent chance you could be a little bit late. So Amtrak staff has been treating us really, really well on board, even through these delays. And we've just really enjoyed the ride, because we are not scheduled to leave Chicago for 2 more days. We've learned our lesson in the past, don't make a tight connection. So we've just been enjoying the extra time and having a good time on board. Fed us a couple extra meals, and it's been great. Next stop will be in Chicago. It's going to be probably after midnight and really dark. So we're going to sign off here from Iowa. It has been a great trip. Thanks for coming along with us, and we will see you on the next video.
All right, guys, so you just heard Rob say that we were planning on getting in at about midnight. Well, there were more delays. So we actually ended up getting in a little closer to about 3 a.m. to Chicago. But our attendant was absolutely amazing, and he actually strongly encouraged us to call Amtrak after, the next day after we got some sleep, to call them up and just let them know what happened and see what they would do. And so I did just that. The next day, after some coffee and a snack, I called 1-800-USA Rail, and the department there that they put me through to the complaint department, or I can't remember what they call it, but anyways, they put me through to a different department, not the person you get when you call 1-800-USA Rail. And they made things right. They gave us a $500 voucher, which made our trip only $500. So basically gave us half of our money back in a voucher to use for a future trip, which we are already making plans for. So that was really good. It was really a pleasant trip overall, even though we had so many delays and so many different types of complications. They did take care of us, like we said, and definitely worth calling and letting them know when something goes wrong during your trip. All right, so as I shared in that clip, that was resolved really well, and we were very happy with how that turned out, because we ended up only paying half price for a really nice train ride, and we were able to use then that $500 towards another train ride, which we were gonna do anyways.
Yeah. Our next one that went really bad was the Coast Starlight. We were supposed to be going from Seattle to Los Angeles to get on a cruise. We were going to be riding the Carnival Radiance out of Los Angeles. And if you don't know, we have a cruise channel. We do have a cruise channel where we put all that on. If you like cruises, Ground of Life Cruises, you can check that out. But we were supposed to be going down for a cruise, and there was so much flooding, I believe it was, all over Los Angeles, or all over California, that the train got canceled. And so we were like, well, how are we going to get to our cruise? Because it was literally 2 days before. Mm-hmm. And so we ended up renting a car in Seattle and just driving it down. And we weren't really sure the whole way because a lot of the highways were closed. We were just thought, well, we'll just go and just keep driving until we find a road to get us to LA.
Yeah, and we found out the night before, while we were on an Amtrak train, we found out, we got an email and a text alert that our train had been canceled for the next morning while we were on the Empire Builder on our way to Seattle. So we found out when we got there, and then we had kind of a, we had to decide, do we want to try? We were in Seattle, so we could get on a flight and fly to Los Angeles, or we could rent a car. And we kind of looked at the pricing between the two, and well, in case you didn't know, we really love road trips. So we thought, we'll rent a car and we'll do a good old-fashioned road trip. So check it out.
Quick change of plans this morning. As you can see, we are in a car and not on the Coast Starlight. There was a cancellation. Amtrak just notified us they canceled the Coast Starlight route for today because of flooding in California. Severe rains for the last few weeks flooded the tracks. They canceled the route, and we do have to get to Los Angeles by tomorrow because we have a cruise we're doing out of there. So we didn't really know what to do. Flooding wasn't gonna go away in just a couple days, so we rented a car. Not really sure how that will affect us because roads can flood too, but we're gonna try to drive down there and do our best. And so plan for today is, I think, to try to get to Sacramento, stay the night there, and then the next day get to LA. So instead of a train for this portion, we are doing a good old American road trip, and we're excited about it. We're gonna have some fun. Made it as far as Sacramento last night from Seattle in one day and did pretty well, but Sacramento is where the major flooding is, so trying to drive through that right now. It is raining quite a bit and there is water everywhere. So hopefully we can make it through, but we're on I-5 and some of the lanes are closed. We'll see how it goes. So on that trip, we used points to book that trip, and the way they resolved it was they just refunded all of our points. Now, that was okay, but it really wasn't the greatest resolution because it kind of left us in the lurch because the prices of the flights had gone way up, the prices of the rental cars had gone up, prices of hotels had gone up. We had to get a rental car and a hotel, so we ended up paying probably a little bit more than we would have paid in cash to do the Amtrak trip, and it really wasn't the greatest just because there wasn't really any resolution for the fact that when your train gets canceled, the prices goes up for whatever you're going to replace it with, and they don't really take that into account. So we did end up resolving it pretty well. We did make the cruise. We got there in time, and so it was all good. But yeah, it was a little unsettling to have to try to make all those last minute adjustments and plans along the way.
Yeah. All right, the next one also involves the Coast Starlight. Although we did have a nice trip, we did have a situation where the air conditioning was only working on half of the train car that we were in. So the air conditioning was working on the half with the bedrooms, but was not working on the half with the roomettes. So that's 10 of us up there, and it was quite toasty.
Yeah, and they cranked the air up all the way, but it really made almost no difference. So the people in the bedrooms were freezing, and the people in the roomettes were burning, and it was just kind of a miserable ride. So we did kind of just try to move around the train, go to the observation car, go to the
the dining car.
But it was really uncomfortable in the room, and they did take care of it though. So we'll show you a little bit about what that looked like and what our thoughts were while we were doing it right now, and then we'll explain how they took care of it.
Okay, so we are stopped at a fresh air break here in San Luis Obispo, and our train car is having a little bit of trouble with the air, so it's quite toasty. So this is a true fresh air break for us because it is much cooler out here than it is in the train, right?
Yeah, it is. But we're getting ready to hit the most beautiful part of this
ride. So we're pumped.
We're excited about that.
Also, you guys got to see this. I got to show you this. So Rob has what we call convertible pants. They're pants, but they're also shorts, and this is how warm he got. He switched into his shorts.
All right, so on that one, the conductor actually came around to each one of us because we all had to have our doors open. Nobody had their doors closed because you were just going to burn up in there with the sun beating down on the room. Conductor came around to each one of us and apologized. It was obviously something beyond their control, and he encouraged each one of us to call and let them know, gave us all the information on the train car that we were in so we could tell them, hey, this train car needs to get fixed. And also, to ask them for some sort of compensation, which they gave us almost all of our money back on that ride.
Yeah, so it did get rectified. It was one of the more uncomfortable rides because it wasn't just a delay, which is generally fine. It was actually you were just really uncomfortable the whole way there. So that may have been the worst one of all of them.
I think so.
The next one is going to be the Empire Builder, and it really had to do with delay because we got caught in a hailstorm, which is really kind of unique, but it was a little bit unsettling while it was happening. But it did work out for the better, so let's take a look at how that played out.
Okay, so we were preparing for bed, but we just got an alert, emergency weather alert, that said there's a tornado warning in the area until 10 p.m. It is 9:30, and it is lightning out. We've seen that for a little bit here, but didn't realize we had storms out there. So we'll be taking... The train is still moving pretty quickly here, so I don't know if we're going to be moving out of that, but we'll stay up for a little bit longer and see. probably hear the hail now hitting. We can hear it. We're still watching, we're still moving, and we're making our next stop, so we're still progressing. Wow.
So we made it through that with, a few hours delay, but the upside to it was, since we were delayed, we got into the Glacier National Park area a little bit late, and we got in right at sunset. And so we got to see the park in all its glory with the sunset, and really that worked out perfectly.
Yeah, so this is our top 6. I don't know which one we would say. We didn't really rank them in order, what would be the worst and what not. They were all not fun, essentially, but don't know if you have had any of these come up, or maybe you were on the same ride with us on one of these. Go ahead and comment down in the comment section, or if you have any questions, leave that down in the comment section for us, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.